So guess what? The Diablo 4 patch is finally upon us. It is live right now, and with it we get a ton of patch notes. We're going to go over absolutely everything, including the gameplay adjustments. Of course, the Nightmare dungeons have been completely updated. What's going on with the classes? Hidden within, we get to see all of the beautiful buffs to all of our classes that we know and love. So yes, every single class has been buffed, by the way. But yeah, I also got to hop into the update myself. I'm going to talk about some lingering issues that are still problematic for sure, but we're going to go ahead and go over this patch. First of all, starting with the gameplay adjustments. And again, video guide in the description below, so you can skip ahead to the class you seek or the info you need to know. Now it says, significantly increase the experience awarded for completing Nightmare dungeons. Yes, that is going to be awesome. They also significantly increase the experience gained from killing monsters in Nightmare dungeons. Now, Helltide chests now provide substantially more bonus experience when opened. And they also significantly increase rewarded experience from completing individual whispers across the board. Fix an issue where no experience was awarded for completing the holdout style event that can occur after finishing dungeon objectives. So even, events that are tied to the Tree of Whispers, they've also buffed that. So good news all around towards the end game. Now, what about Helltide specifically? Let's talk about it, shall we? So we have this one. The Helltide roaming bosses will now more consistently drop higher quality loot. Nice. Players can now teleport to their Nightmare dungeon directly through the map. Now, I did actually get to test this one out, and I was kind of bummed to learn that once you do complete a Nightmare dungeon and you go to teleport to a new Nightmare dungeon, it doesn't just put you into the beginning of a Nightmare dungeon. What it does is it takes you out of the dungeon, and it's like there's several unnecessary loading screens. I would have preferred for it to be where when you want to go to another new Nightmare dungeon after already completing a Nightmare dungeon, it just loads you straight up into the beginning of that dungeon. Get rid of all those extra loading screens. I'm not too sure why they are there. At least that's how it worked for me. Let me know if it's the same for you. But yeah, I think that definitely needs to be adjusted. And also, another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is the PC performance still has this micro stutter. Now, there are a bunch of bug fixes here, but yeah, the micro stutter does still persist. It seems like the VRAM issue is still present. All right, let's keep going. Now, it goes on to say this. Weekly bonus caches from world bosses no longer have a level requirement for opening nights. Now, they have developers' notes. We are currently working on increasing the monster and elite density of in-game content and plan to introduce this change early in Season 1. That is awesome. It really does feel like they are listening to their community, which I love. Now, what about balance changes? They say this, developer note, we're continuing our efforts to make all class builds feel fun and powerful with another round of balance updates. In particular, we have seen community feedback stating that basic skills aren't impactful enough in combat. These changes will not change the fundamental relationship between basic skills and core skills, but we hope that they help smooth out the leveling experience while we explore additional ways to strengthen them. We are also increasing the power of some skills that players feel are lagging behind their peers. As we look forward to the future updates, we're monitoring other heavily discussed topics such as minion survivability and build parity. Please keep sending us your feedback, and we'll see you in Sanctuary. Yeah, I want to be able to have like a purpose to using every skill in the game, even those basic skills. So I'm kind of curious to see exactly what they're going to be doing here. Stay tuned. Definitely going to keep us in the know about that one. Now, what about the classes? So we're going to start out with the Barbarian. Again, you could skip ahead to the class that you're most interested in, but maybe this will encourage you to try other classes that you might have neglected. For the Barbarian, it says skills, lunging strike, base damage skill increase from 30 to 33%. Fury generated increase from 9 to 10. For Bash, the Fury generated increase from 10 to 11, and then they enhanced Bash's Fortify, increase from 10% to 20%. Frenzy says this, base damage increased from 20% to 22%, and for Flay, bleeding base damage increased from 36% to 40%. Now, Fury generated increase from 9 to 10, and then they enhanced Flay's vulnerable chance increase from 10% to 15%. Now, what about Double Swing? The base damage increased from 36% to 40%, and for Kick, the cooldown has been reduced from 17 to 13 seconds. Base damage dealt to enemies knocked back into terrain increased from 54% to 70%. And Charge, it says this, enhanced Charge's base damage dealt to enemies knocked back into terrain has also been increased from 15% to 30%. What about Leap? Now, I'm using Leap. It says Mighty Leap, slow, increase from 50% to 70%. Nice. Iron Skin says enhance the Iron Skin's barrier increase from 10 to 20% of maximum life. For Call of Ancients, the Prime Call of Ancients bonus attack speed has been increased to 20%. Iron Maelstrom says this, cooldown reduced from 60 to 45 seconds. Prime Iron Maelstrom, bonus critical strike chance increased from 10 to 30%. That's pretty good. Prime Iron Maelstrom also says bonus critical strike damage increased from 20 to 40%. Nice. So a lot of stuff going on there. Good stuff for Iron Maelstrom. Now, Bounding Slam says base damage has been increased from 75% to 112% as well. And they have some developer notes here about legendary aspects. Below includes changes to flat damage legendary aspects. Now, these effects scale with item power. For example, at 820 item power, Volcathos Earthquake increases from 1,747 through 3,404 to 2,687 up to 3,717 damage. And you can see here, yes, they showed some love, some buffs for, of course, the Earthquake and, yes, Dust Devil have both seen buffs for their flat damage. I have had the chance to try both of them, and I'm loving it so far. It's a part of my build, rotating between the two. And yes, I love that they have buffed this. Also, we have some changes here to Iron Warrior. Damage reduction increased from 10 to 20% to 15 to 25%. Now, items. What about items? For Overkill, they increased the damage from 16% to 30%, to now it's 24% through 38%. Hellhammer also saw a buff from 0.3 to 0.5, all the way up to 0.6 through 0.8 right there. So yes, overall, some nice changes for the Barbarian. I'm loving the changes. It feels really, really good. So now is your chance to really go all in with experimenting with all the classes and have some fun. This is the time to definitely do it. All right, what about, of course, the Druid? So we have some skills which have been buffed, including Earth Spike and Wind Shear. Their base damage, spirit generated, and also the Fortify for Earth Spike have seen buffs. Wind Shear, base damage, and spirit generated have also seen some buffs as well, as you can see here. Now, for the Claw, base damage increased from 20% to 22%, spirit generated increased 10 to 11, and then Wild Claw double attack chance increased 10 to 15%. Fierce Claw base damage also increased from 10 to 15%. Maul has also seen some buffs to base damage, spirit generated, and then enhanced Maul. Fortify has also been increased for Maul. Now, Lightning Storm says this enhanced Lightning Storm duration increased from 4 to 6 seconds. Primal Lightning Storm's chance to immobilize has been increased from 8 to 12%. So more significant buffs there as well. What about Shred? It says third attack base damage increased from 60% to 70%. And then enhanced Shred healing increased from 1 to 2% of maximum life. Raging Shred's base damage has been increased from 51% all the way up to 70%. Primal Shred's bonus critical strike damage increased from 20 to 30%. So overall, some significant bonuses and buffs to Shred. Now, what about our Wolves, Hurricane, and Rabies? For Wolves, it says cooldown has been reduced from 14 to 11 seconds. Ferocious Wolfpack lucky hit chance has been increased from 10 to 40%. Now, Hurricane says this base damage increased from 97.5% all the way up to, get this, 134%. Now, for Rabies, it says base poison damage increased from 53 to 76%. Cataclysm has seen some changes. Base damage increased from 52 to 64%. They also adjusted the last rate, increasing that from 400% to 460% damage. Petrify critical strike damage bonus increased from 25% to 30%. Now, Pummel says base damage increased from 140% to 180%. Now, let's get into the passives for the Druid. Bestial Rampage says attack speed bonus increased from 20% to 25%. Damage bonus increased from 20% to 30%. And Nature's Fury says this chance to cast a free spell increased from 20 to 30%. Now, Lupine Ferocity says damage bonus increased from 60 to 70%, and legendary aspects have also seen some changes for the Druid. Runeworker's Conduit says this: flat damage increased from 1 to 1.4. Mangled has seen an increase for the chance from 20 to 30% to 30 to 40%. Seismic Shift says cooldown decreased from 2.5 to 1.5 to 2 to 1 seconds. Blurred Beast says damage increased from 60 to 90% to 70 to 100%. So yeah, overall, nice buffs for the Druid. And yeah, currently, according to stats, Druid is the least played class. Let's see how many of you hop onto the Druid now that he has been buffed. Now, we got to talk about the Necromancer. For skills, it says Reap, base damage increased from 12 to 13%. Acolyte Reap's cooldown has been adjusted between corpses, reduced from 5 to 4 seconds. Decompose says base damage increased from 30 to 33%. Base essence generated per second increased from 7 to 8, and corpses formed frequency increased from 2.5 to 2 seconds. Hemorrhage and Bone Splinters and Sever have also seen some buffs. Now for Hemorrhage, base damage increased from 25 to 27%. Essence generated increased from 8 to 9. Bone Splinter says base damage increased from 8 to 9%. Essence generated increased from 6 to 7. And Sever says initial base damage increased from 63% to 66%. Enhanced Sever's return base damage increased from 25 to 40%. Bloodlance says supernatural Bloodlance overpower requirement reduced from 8 to 6 casts. And Bone Prison says cooldown reduced from 20 to 18 seconds. Dreadful Bone Prison's Fortify increased from 5 to 8%. Iron Maiden says this: base damage increased from 10 to 20%. Horde Iron Maiden damage bonus increased from 15 to 20%. Corpse Tendril says Blight Corpse Tendrils chance to spawn a Blood Orb increased from 30 to 35%, so 5% change there. And Bonus Spike says bonus base damage, increased from 80 to 120%. That's huge. And Raise, Skeleton, and Golem says minions will now always engage target with a cast curse. Nice. Now, passive says Callan's Edict says damage taken duration requirement reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. And Rothman's Vigor healthy duration requirement reduced from 15 to 12 seconds. Spiked Armor says Thorns increased from 0.08, 0.16, 0.24 accordingly, 2.1, 0.2, 0.3 respectively. Bursting Bone and Flesh Rending have also seen some interesting buffs. Now, of course, flat damage has been increased for Bursting Bone, and for Flesh Rending, it says Essence gained increased from 10 to 20 to 20 through 40. Nice. Now, Fast Blood says ultimate cooldown reduction increased from a half second to 1 second to 1 through 1.5 seconds. So overall, nicely done right there. Some buffs. But guess what? The Rogue, even though the Rogue is currently very powerful, they have seen some buffs as well. So check it out right here. It says skills. Invigorating Strike. Base damage increased from 23 to 25%. Blade Shift and Heart Seeker says this right here. Blade Shift. Base damage increased from 15 to 16%. And Heart Seeker says base damage increased from 22 to 24%. Primary Heart Seeker says damage increased from 30% to 75%. Forceful Arrow says this base damage has been increased 2%, 20 to 22%. Barrage says base damage increased from 20% to 22%. Caltrops, Mythical Caltrops chill increased from 20% to 25%. And Smoke Grenade had its cooldown reduced from 15 to 13 seconds. And Rain of Arrows says cooldown reduced from 60 to 55 seconds. And Prime Rain of Arrows Imbuement potency increased from 20 to 30%. Volley says base damage increased from 70% to 105% as well. Passives, Close Quarters Combat damage bonus increased from 20 to 30%. For legendary aspects, it says Escape Artist says this cooldown decreased from 100 to 45 seconds. That's actually significant. Imbro says lucky hit chance to gain a Dark Shroud increased from 30 to 50% to 40 to 60%. Items says Eyes in the Dark increased Death Trap cooldown reduced from 30 to 15% to 20 to 15% right there. All right, I know a lot of you guys play Sorcerer. In fact, it is apparently the most played class in the game. Guess what? You're going to want to play even more Sorcerer because we got buffs. So it says this: Spark. Base damage increased from 8 to 10%. Enhanced Spark damage increased from 5.6% to 7%. Flickering Spark chance increased from 3 to 4%. Cross Bolt, Firebolt, Charge Bolt have seen their damage increase overall as well. Incinerate says this base damage increased from 49% to 54%, and then the enhanced Incinerate damage increased from 15% to 25%. Greater Incinerate Mobilize requirement reduced from 4 to 3 seconds, and then for the Fireball, mana cost decreased from 40 to 35. Frozen Orb says initial base damage increased from 32% to 36%. Explosion-based damage increased from 29% to 34%. Greater Frozen Orb chance to apply Vulnerable increased from 25% to 30%. Now Blizzard, Ice Blades, and Lightning Spear have all seen buffs as well. Now for Blizzard, it says base damage increased from 120% to 130%. Ice Blade says chance to apply Vulnerable increase from 30 to 40%. Lightning Spear says summoned Lightning Spear's maximum damage bonus increased from 100 to 160%. That's significant. Crackling Energy says base damage increased from 15 to 20%. Freezing Wake says base damage increased from 60 to 110%. Wow. Now Legendary Aspect says this Abundant Energy chance to chain to an additional enemy increased from 20 to 30% to 30 to 40%. Now Singed Extremities says this, or Singed Extremities, it says slow amount increase from 25 to 35% to 40 to 60%. Incinerary says a chance to restore mana increased from 5 to 10% to 12 to 17%. Snow Guard and Concentration says this, where Snow Guard damage reduction increased from 10 to 15% to 20 to 25%. Concentration says mana regeneration increased to 10 to 20% to 20 to 30%. Now, what about the items dedicated to the Sorcerer? Flame Scar says flat damage increase from 0.1 through 0.2 to, guess what, 0.2 through 0.3. Staff of Lamb Essence says this damage reduction reduced 40 to 30% to 35 to 25%. So yeah, again, overall, some really impressive buffs going on for the classes. I love what they have done here. I myself have been not shy about saying that they should be buffing stuff. They should not be nerfing stuff. I even said that before the release, and I was very worried what would happen if they nerf stuff, and it did upset the community. Now we're getting more of a balance. I see that the happiness might actually be returning. Now this patch is not perfect. Once again, I still think they need to do stuff with PC performance and further adjust how the Nightmare Sigils do work and how they teleport you. It needs to teleport you directly into the Nightmare Dungeon that you want to go to, not outside of it or near it. It should be right there in it. Hopefully they could pull that off in the future, but what's here is great so far. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more Diablo 4 news and updates. I have you guys covered, and I will see you all next time. Take care.